Welcome back to Farmyard Care. Today, we need to look at farming income in a different way, because many people have been taught the wrong idea for far too long. Most people believe that to make real money from animals, you need hundreds of acres, a big red barn, expensive tractors, and a rural property far away from the city. That picture may have been true for some traditional farms, but it is not the only way anymore. The truth is, opportunity may already be sitting right under your roof. People living in apartments, suburban neighborhoods, strict HOA communities, and homes with small garages are already earning $500 to $2,000 a month from animals that fit in a spare room, shed, closet, rooftop, or backyard corner. This is not fantasy, and it is not something reserved for someday. These are real small space systems built around one powerful idea: profit per square foot, not profit per acre. When most people hear farm income, they think bigger land means bigger money. But with the right animals, the real advantage comes from density, management, and smart marketing. So if you are tired of farming advice that only works for someone with a 40-acre ranch, this video is for you. Today, I'm breaking down 8 animals that can help generate serious monthly income with zero traditional farmland. We'll look at startup costs, monthly earning potential, space requirements, and the common mistakes that destroy profits before they begin. Grab a notepad, because this may change the way you look at your home, your garage, and even your backyard. Section 1: Quail, the stealth income generator. System number 1 is Quail. If you have ever researched backyard poultry, pay close attention, because this is where many beginners miss one of the best small space opportunities. In many American cities and suburbs, chickens are restricted, roosters are banned, and poultry rules can be strict. But quail are often treated differently because they are commonly classified as game birds rather than standard poultry. That legal difference can make them much easier to keep in residential areas, especially where chickens create problems with noise, space, or local rules. Now let's talk about production speed. A Quail hen can start laying eggs at only 6 to 8 weeks old. Compare that to chickens, which often need 18 to 26 weeks before they produce. A good quail hen can lay almost daily, giving around 280 to 300 eggs per year. Here's the simple math. Around 50 laying hens can fit in roughly 12 square feet of cage space, about the size of a bookshelf in a spare room. That flock can produce close to 50 eggs a day. At farmers markets and specialty food outlets, quail eggs may sell for $5 to $8 per dozen. With 100 birds, egg sales alone can bring in around $300 to $600 per month. But eggs should not be your only income stream. That is the mistake many beginners make. The real profit comes from using the same birds in several ways: eating eggs, fertile hatching eggs, live chicks, and dressed meat. Fertile eggs can sell for up to $15 per dozen, chicks for $3 to $5 each, and processed meat for $12 to $16 per pound. With multiple product lines, the same flock can move from a few $100s a month toward a much stronger income system. And do not ignore the manure. Quail waste is rich in nutrients and is often called quail gold. For gardeners, greenhouse growers, and flower producers, it can become another valuable product instead of something you throw away. Section 2: Red Wiggler Worms. System number 2 is red wiggler worms, and I know the first reaction: worms? Can that really be a serious income system? Yes, it can. Vermiculture is far more valuable than most people realize. There is strong demand for quality worm castings and live composting worms, and in many areas, good suppliers are still hard to find. That gap is where the opportunity begins. Red wigglers are one of the simplest livestock systems you can start. A basic setup may cost less than $60. A plastic storage tote, shred cardboard for bedding, and your first pound of worms. Compared with most animal businesses, the barrier to entry is extremely low. Under good conditions, red wigglers reproduce quickly. Their population can double every 60 to 90 days, which means your inventory grows without buying more animals. 1 pound of worms can become several pounds in just a few months if moisture, bedding, food, and temperature are managed correctly. The castings are the main product. Worm castings can sell for $1 to $3 per pound in bulk, and much more when packaged for retail. But the bigger opportunity is not always selling pure castings. Many successful worm farms create blended soil mixes by combining castings with compost, peat moss, and perlite. That turns a basic product into a premium garden amendment. The biggest mistake with worms is overfeeding. Too much food turns sour, creates odors, attracts pests, and can kill the colony. Feed only what they can process in about 2 to 3 days. Keep the bedding moist, not soaked, and the system stays quiet, clean, and productive. For anyone with almost no space, worms are one of the most efficient zero-land farming systems you can start. Section 3. Meat rabbits, the vertical fertilizer factory. System number 3 is meat rabbits. Rabbits are quiet, compact, and when managed correctly, they produce very little odor. In many residential areas, they are treated more like pets than livestock, which makes them easier to keep than larger farm animals. The production speed is what makes rabbits so interesting. A single doe can produce 30 to 40 offspring per year. Young rabbits can reach a harvest weight of 4 to 5 pounds in about 8 to 12 weeks. Processed rabbit meat may sell for $8 to $12 per pound direct to customers, and even higher in specialty markets. A small starter setup with 3 dozen $1 can fit in the footprint of a large dog kennel and may bring in $150 to $250 per month with proper management and a reliable buyer. But the meat is only one part of the system. Rabbits are also excellent fertilizer producers. Their manure is considered cold manure, which means it can often be used without composting and does not burn plant roots like hotter manures can. It is also clean, dry, and usually free of weed seeds. That makes rabbit manure valuable to gardeners, orchid growers, bonsai enthusiasts, and small nursery owners. Bag it properly, present it as a premium cold fertilizer, and it becomes another income stream instead of waste. When you add breeding stock, manure sales, and in some breeds fiber such as Angora, a small rabbit operation in a shed can grow into a $400 to $900 monthly system. Now let me ask you this. Which of these first 3 could you realistically start this weekend? Quail, worms, or rabbits? Drop your answer in the comments because your choice may help someone else take their first step too. Section 4. Honeybees, stealing resources legally. System number 4 is honeybees. One hive takes up only about 4 square feet of space, but the bees forage across a wide area, often up to 3 miles from the hive. That means they gather nectar and pollen from surrounding landscapes you do not own, while the hive itself sits in a very small footprint. A bee colony can produce several income streams at once. A healthy hive may produce 30 to 60 pounds of honey in a season, and local honey can sell for $10 to $18 per pound. That alone can bring in $300 to more than $1,000 per hive in the right market. But honey is only the beginning. Beeswax can be turned into candles, balms, and other value-added products. Propolis can be sold to natural health buyers. And one of the strongest income streams is selling nucs, or starter colonies, to new beekeepers in spring. These can often sell for $175 to $250 each. With 10 well-managed hives and several product lines, beekeeping can generate $500 to $1,500 per month during strong seasons. The major mistake is scaling too fast. Bees are small, but the system is not simple. Start with 2 hives, learn their seasonal cycle, understand disease pressure, feeding, swarming, and inspections, then expand when you can manage them confidently. Section 5. Black soldier fly larvae. System number 5 is black soldier fly larvae, or BSF. I know raising fly larvae may sound strange at first, but once you understand the numbers, the system makes a lot of sense. BSF larvae can eat kitchen scraps, coffee grounds, and food processing waste, then turn that waste into a high-protein feed source. The larvae can contain up to 42% protein and 35% fat, making them valuable for poultry keepers, fish farms, and pet food buyers. Once dried, they can sell for around $4 to $8 per pound. And the leftover material called frass is not waste either. It is a premium organic fertilizer that can sell for $2 to $5 per pound. So with BSF, you are turning discarded organic material into 2 useful products: animal feed and fertilizer. A small 100 square foot climate-controlled setup can potentially generate $1,000 to $2,000 a month when managed well. But the real power comes when you connect BSF to other systems. If you raise quail or tilapia, the larvae can reduce your feed costs by 30% to 50%. That is why I call BSF a force multiplier. It creates income, lowers expenses, and turns waste into value. Just do not start without a steady waste source, such as a local grocery store, cafe, or restaurant. Section 6. Utility pigeons. The self-running system. System number 6 is utility pigeons. This one surprises many people because pigeons are often overlooked, but they can be a very efficient, small-space meat bird. Young pigeons harvested at about 4 weeks old before their first flight are known as squab. In high-end kitchens, squab is considered a specialty meat, and chefs may pay $20 to $30 per bird when they can find a reliable local supplier. A small loft with 10 breeding pairs can fit in a 60-square-foot corner of a garage. With good management, that setup can produce around 120 to 160 squabs per year. At $25 each, that is about $3,000 to $4,000 annually from a very small footprint. The reason pigeons work so well is that they do much of the labor themselves. Pairs bond for life, hatch their own eggs, and feed their young with very little daily handling. In many cases, the daily care takes only a few minutes. But there's one serious mistake to avoid: buying adult birds and releasing them too soon. Pigeons have a strong homing instinct. If adult birds were raised somewhere else, they may simply fly back there and never return. Start with young birds called squeakers and keep them in your loft for 4 to 6 weeks so they imprint on their new home. Section 7. Indoor aquaponics with tilapia, water wealth. System number 7 is indoor aquaponics with tilapia. This is not about digging a pond in the backyard. This is about using a spare room, basement, or controlled indoor space to produce fish and fresh herbs all year. Tilapia are efficient meat fish, and a 200-gallon stock tank can produce around 50 to 75 pounds of fish per year. But in aquaponics, the fish are only part of the income. The stronger profit often comes from the plants. The fish waste feeds the grow beds, and those grow beds can produce herbs with strong market value. Basil, for example, can sell for $2 to $4 per ounce at specialty grocers. A well-managed herb bed connected to a fish tank can produce $200 to $800 per month from herbs alone. There is also another income stream: education. People are fascinated by closed-loop food systems. You can offer paid tours, workshops, or online lessons based on your own setup and real results. Some operators earn more teaching aquaponics than selling the fish. But protect the system carefully. One power outage can stop pumps, reduce oxygen, and kill fish quickly, especially in cold weather. A backup power plan is not optional. It is part of the business. Section 8. Native heritage chickens, the low-input revenue. Finally, system number 8 is native and heritage chickens. Most people think chickens need a big pasture to be profitable, but with the right local breeds, even a small backyard setup can become a strong income source. The key is choosing native or heritage breeds. Commercial hybrids can be productive, but they often need more careful management, better feed, and sometimes more health support. Native chickens are different. They are usually tougher, better adapted to local weather, local disease pressure, and local feeding conditions. That resilience can reduce your costs and make the whole system easier to manage. A single female native chicken can produce 40 to 60 chicks a year. If you hatch and raise those chicks in a small backyard space, even a flock of 50 birds can create meaningful profit because the input cost stays low. For many small farmers, the real advantage is not massive production, it is low overhead. But do not stop at eggs and chicks. Chicken manure is rich in nitrogen, and if you manage it properly, it becomes another valuable product. With the deep litter method, you layer manure with carbon materials like straw, dry leaves, or wood shavings. This helps control odor and slowly turns the waste into a stable, useful compost. That compost can be sold to fruit growers, gardeners, or landscapers, or used to improve your own growing beds. In this kind of system, the chicken is not just an egg layer or meat bird. It becomes a small bioreactor, turning feed, bedding, and waste into real backyard value, closing the loop and building your fortress. Now let's step back and look at the bigger picture. Each of these animals can work as a small side income on its own, but the real power appears when you connect 2 or 3 systems together. This is where a small homestead becomes smart. Rabbit manure and kitchen scraps can feed the worm bins. Worm castings can support garden beds or aquaponic plants. Black soldier fly larvae can feed quail, chickens, or fish. Poultry manure can go back into composting systems and help build soil. One system's waste becomes another system's free input. That is how you lower costs while increasing production. A simple setup with quail and worms may bring in $300 to $600 a month. Add rabbits, and that number can move higher. Bring in bees, tilapia, or another well-managed product stream, and reaching $2,000 a month becomes much more realistic without owning acres of land. The difference between a struggling farm and a profitable one is not always land size. Often, it is how well you see value in every corner, every bucket, every cage, and every waste stream. So if you are just starting, begin simple. Worms are one of the easiest first steps. For under $60, you can learn how to manage a living system, control moisture, feed properly, and produce something useful. Then, after 60 days, you can add quail or another small animal system. The person who starts today will gain more real experience in 90 days than someone who spends a whole year only reading and waiting. Leave a comment below with your city or suburb, the space you have available, and which system you would start first. I want to hear what you are working with. And if these numbers and ideas helped you see your space differently, subscribe and turn on notifications. Here at Farmyard Care, we are focused on helping you turn small spaces into productive, profitable, and joyful systems. The land rewards people who know how to use what others ignore. Build your own machine of abundance, and I'll see you in the next video.